The industry changed in August 14th, 2003. Something simple as a tree branch changed all that.
Gotta get this and everything else hold and stuff so.
When it caused a spot in Ohio to go down and 50 million customers lost power, and we had to figure out how to get it back up.
What can we do to measure resiliency? What can we do to improve resiliency? How do we define the costs associated with improving resiliency? How do we get the efficiencies in working between two different industries, the power industry and the water, wastewater industry? And how do we cross-pollinate between these two industries in context of resiliency, come up with a framework that makes sense for both industries? And how do we learn from each other?
The Electric Water Utility Resilience Summit is really a unique event that brings together water utility representatives, electric power utility representatives, the consultants working with them, academic researchers, government entities, to really dive into what resilience means in Southeast Michigan. Not to say we're going to get to a single definition, but how can we work together to foster resilience in this really important large community that is Southeast Michigan?
The customer, if their perception of what they think they're getting is different than what you mean, then they consider you sub-performing and you think you're doing great. So you got to make sure that you manage expectations, that they understand why you might not reach 100%.
The Great Lakes Water Authority approached the University of Michigan and me about a year ago. The question was asked, well, we're a water utility. We think we're behind the electric utilities. What should resilience mean to a water utility, and how should we approach this? So it's been a really exciting time to try to help GLWA and the region by bringing all these stakeholders together to talk about this.
When we see infrastructure failures, or when we have weather events that overwhelm our systems, our infrastructure, we see a direct human result that is suffering. For me, it's really about these aging assets as they fail. If we don't move in that direction of replacing those aging assets, then we're going to see more and more human suffering.
It doesn't really matter what the thing does or how well it does it if it doesn't do it when you need it and it doesn't respond to the different situations that come up. So I think if you don't have the resiliency, it doesn't really matter how great something is, and that's why I want to make sure it's in the conversation for the projects I run and for the larger view of my organization.
In moving from investing for a system that's reliable during normal weather to a system that's resilient during extreme weather, it's going to cost us 50% more, so that when there are outages, our system can automatically heal itself rather than waiting for crews to go out and drive for miles and find manual switches and fix problems.
I mean, if you bother to spend your time doing something, you want to do the best job you can. And if you don't want to do the best job, then don't do it at all. And I think the people in the room feel the same way, and you want to motivate them to think there is a way to get there.
To tell you what I think resiliency is, and for us, boots on the ground people, it's how tough are we? It's evolving, it's being nimble, it's communicating, but it's also plucking out some of the very best people that we have in the organization and setting them aside and saying, how do you make us more tough? Where are we weak? Where are the risks identified? We can't have our frontline people who are moving water every single day try to figure that out. And in order to go there and work really as a system, like dovetailed, right? Not a handshake, but a dovetail. It's got to be lasting.
University researchers can meet power utility people, and folks from water utilities can meet consultants and so on. We're going to continue to converge on some specificity on topics and questions, and actually hopefully collaboration teams.
It's great to collaborate, and this is an excellent start. We're here today. A lot of different entities here today. We can collaborate, we can talk, but it needs to have legs. So it needs to have some structure or some framework under it
There are standard measures of reliability. But when you look for resilience, there are no standard metrics. How resilient is the grid? How do I measure it? How do I know, right? Yeah, I think it's resilient, but how do I know? How do I verify that?
To me, one of the important takeaways from this whole summit is this is really a start of a process to focus on this concept of building a resilient region in the face of changing weather patterns and aging infrastructure.
What really has inspired our company to think about resilience has been our long history of working in this area. We've been working for almost 50 years now in the area of water and water resources planning. As the times change, as the climate evolves, the way that water interacts with humans in our environment is changing rapidly.
We're at such an awesome time. People need us more than they ever have, and it's just a fantastic time to be here, finding a way to meet that need, and to be part of this resurgence of Michigan is a great place to be.